This being your third season, it seems like you've been a lot more assertive or spicy this year.
Spicy? I don't know, it's spicy. It's cool. I mean, I feel like for me, it's just my approach. It's just coming in and just trying to be dominant in anything the team needs. And so if that gives off spicy, which I really don't think it does, I feel like I'm like kind of quiet.
Spice?
No, I just know it's spicy. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's just been my mindset, is just coming in and just being the player that I need to be for us. Whatever that looks like, it looks like.
What connects a rallying cry in the locker room, a dominating blowout, and a hard-earned playoff spot? For the Indiana Fever, the answer is simple: everything. Their 94-65 dismantling of the Washington Mystics wasn't just another win, it was a statement of survival and resilience. At the heart of it, Aliyah Boston dropped a message that instantly lit up her teammates and left fans eager to know exactly what she meant. What were her words? And how has that mindset become the fuel driving Indiana forward? Despite missing superstar Caitlin Clark and 4 other key players to injury, this is about more than basketball. It's about identity, grit, and belief. So if you're hyped for the Fever's playoff run, type Fever Playoffs in the comments. Let's get it.
Playoffs! Dubs!
That's how we clinch, baby!
It's that W. Playoffs! Bow! Yeah! Playoffs, baby!
Mitchell in transition, lays that up and in for our first bucket of the game. Well, that's Sims off the cross again into the paint, lays it up and in.
How does a playoff team lose nearly half its rotation and still manage to stay alive? That's the defining story of the Indiana Fever this season. Their roster wasn't just bruised, it was stripped bare. Caitlin Clark, the sophomore phenom expected to carry this franchise into a new era, went down after just 13 games with a torn groin. Sophie Cunningham out with a knee injury. Wnba sidelined with the same. Sydney Colson forced to sit, and Ari McDonald shut down with a foot injury. 5 names, 5 key contributors erased from the lineup. For most teams, that's the breaking point, but for Indiana, it became the ultimate test of resilience.
When you think back to the beginning of the season, if someone were to tell you, like, this is where you could be, this is your team, like, at the end of the season, like, genuinely, what do you think the reaction would be?
Probably no stinking way. You know, I don't think, thinking back to the beginning of the season, that anyone would have ever foreseen it going like this.
Caitlin Clark's injury was the crushing blow. She wasn't just scoring over 16 points a night, she was setting the standard for how the Fever played. The reason fans believed a playoff run wasn't just a dream, but an expectation. So when the news broke that she'd miss the rest of the season, the shock wasn't limited to Indiana. It reverberated across the entire basketball world. The fans who had been filling Gainbridge Fieldhouse were left wondering how this team could possibly survive without their brightest star. And the analysts? Most didn't hesitate to call it. The Fever's playoff hopes were finished.
Even if things looked like it got harder, for us it was about sticking together, and I think through everything you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together regardless of who's on that floor.
And it wasn't just Clark. The Fever's season turned into a revolving door of hardship signings, making the roster look less like a steady team and more like a train in motion that players were scrambling to jump aboard. By now, 18 different athletes have suited up in Indiana colors. Picture it, you take a team photo on opening night, only to realize halfway through the season that nearly every face has changed. Odyssey Sims flying in to contribute, Shea Petty grabbing unexpected minutes, Ariel Powers carving out her spot. This wasn't a carefully designed blueprint, it was survival mode, and survival alone almost never leads to a playoff run.
For whatever reason, you know, things happen, and you know, you've got to continue to put your best foot forward. You got to continue to stay the course. You know, this group has been forced to grow strong roots, and you know, teams can go one of 2 ways when those things happen. You either use it to pull you together and as motivation to continue to get better and do it for one another and do it for your teammates that have been lost to injury, or it pulls some teams apart.
That's where Stephanie White's leadership changed everything. Even with her roster gutted, she never hit the panic button. Instead, she stripped things down, tightened the rotations, and got her players locked in on the fundamentals. White even admitted the coaching staff had to get creative to squeeze the most out of what they had left. She didn't pretend the adversity wasn't real, she embraced it. She kept reminding her team of their toughness, both physical and mental, and the players bought in.
When I look at this group, so incredibly thankful for the type of people that we have in this locker room, for the way that they have been able to continue to stay the course and bounce back and stay together, to pull for one another, to really be flexible enough to make space for different types of teams that we've had throughout the course of the year, and to continue to put ourselves in position.
By the time August rolled around, doubt had been replaced with something far stronger: resilience. What looked like the breaking point for this team turned into their secret weapon. No superstar to carry the load. Fine, everyone on the roster stepped up and took responsibility. What began as a desperate next woman up approach evolved into the very core of their identity. And when they brought that mindset into Washington, all the toughness forged through a season of adversity finally erupted into pure dominance.
Inside Howard, off the window, the bucket, and the foul. Heady three, knocks it down again. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop, and she drops it home.
Fever 94, Mystics 65. Indiana's in. And now you know, despite all the adversity, this incredibly resilient Fever team is going back to the playoffs in 2025.
How do you turn heartbreak into a 29-point statement win? The Indiana Fever answered that question on the road against the Washington Mystics. And the result wasn't just a victory, it was a message delivered to the entire league. This game wasn't about squeaking by, it was about securing their spot in the playoffs and proving that even without Caitlin Clark, this team has more than one engine driving it forward. But it didn't start out like a runaway. In the first half, Washington came out swinging, contesting shots, trading buckets, and keeping the pressure on. Indiana's offense sputtered early, and the tension was real. With Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Ari McDonald, Chloe Beebe, and Sydney Colson all out, the question hung in the air. Would the Fever hold their ground, or was this the kind of night that could unravel fast?
And more than anything, y'all, big picture-wise, this group, there would have been so many teams that would have folded with all the we've been through. And we just kept getting better, and we kept getting tougher, and we kept becoming more resilient, and we kept figuring things out, right? Like, we've had like 7 new teams throughout the course of this season. and no matter what, we've been flexible, we've been accountable, we've put each other in positions to be successful, and we've continued to put one foot forward and stay the course.
By halftime, it was still anyone's game, but when the third quarter hit, everything changed. The Fever didn't just defend, they suffocated Washington. The Mystics scored only 9 points in the entire quarter. 9. That's not a slump, that's lockdown basketball at its purest. Passing lanes vanished, every shot was contested, every possession felt like a battle they couldn't win. And in that moment, Indiana looked like the hungrier team in every aspect. The lead snowballed past 20, past 25, and at its height, it swelled to a 33-point gulf.
You just don't know what she's going to do. I mean, she's so crafty with her shot decisions. Howard right to the hoop, high out the window. And she's slicing through that paint. Angela back tapped it. It ends up with aerial powers. Inside Howard, off the window, the bucket, and the foul by the rookie all-star Sonia Citron. Howard quickly back to the right side, back at 34.
The box score told part of the story, but the plays themselves revealed the rest. Natasha Howard rose to the moment, delivering exactly what Indiana needed. She poured in a game-high 17 points, attacking the rim with authority and making Washington pay every time she got close.
Jolson had to stay home because she had an occupied side. In terms of a cutter in her area, she stayed. Heady three, knocks it down again. Flip it. He's just such a solid stabilizer for Washington. Howard right to the hoop, lays it up and in. Fourth foul on Austin. Boston down low. Double tongue, drops off to Howard, who lays it up and in.
Aliyah Boston delivered her trademark dominance once again, stacking up another double-double with 12 points and 11 rebounds, anchoring Indiana's control of the paint on both ends of the floor.
So Craves in there, get off and get loose. Mitchell three off the mark, long rebound ends up with Sims. It's Sims, nice pocket pass. Boston foul line jumper.
And just when it looked like Indiana might need an extra boost to seal the game, aerial powers provided it. Coming off the bench, she erupted for 15 points, added 6 rebounds, and dished out 4 assists, playing the role of spark plug that kept the Fever's energy surging.
Austin got that rebound. Here's Powers. Lost the handle, gets it back, gets right to the hoop. There she drops it home. 8 on the shot clock here for Citron. So 3-screen that. And then they got the switch they want. Oh, couldn't get it in. Tough turnover there for Washington. The loose ball collected by Dolson as Citron brings it over half. Powers in the passing lane. No one to beat. Lays it up and in. See if they can get back to that and connect plays and stack possessions with that level of effectiveness.
And the impact didn't end there. Like, Hull was everywhere, diving for loose balls, pressuring ball handlers, and flipping defensive hustle into fast break opportunities.
The finishing plays. Here's Hull, guarded by Citron. Hanging, fading, kicks off the glass. My goodness. Be better served. Maybe 4 out, 1 in, and have him take turns with it. Oh. Clips and 3.
Shea Petty added her own spark with perfect shooting, knocking down all 3 of her attempts from beyond the arc and finishing with 13 points. Every role player who stepped on the floor made sure their presence was felt.
Sands is also back for the Fever. Here's Petty in the corner. He knocks it down. Shea Petty also spent time here.
Even on a night when her shot wasn't falling, Kelsey Mitchell still managed to contribute, dropping 10 points and bringing stability to the backcourt. And when you looked at the box score, 5 different Fever players had reached double figures. That kind of balance is rare in the WNBA, but it was exactly what the situation called for.
Thanks to Alicia Clark and Jade Seamless with the philosophy and culture and playing with joy as being the top tier point of emphasis there. Mitchell in transition, lays that up and in for our first bucket of the game.
In the end, the turnover battle told the story. Washington gave the ball away 22 times, and Indiana punished them, turning those mistakes into 27 points. Meanwhile, the Fever only committed 6 turnovers the entire game, leaving the Mystics with no chance to swing momentum back. It wasn't just that Indiana outscored them, it was the way they squeezed every bit of hope out of Washington by cashing in on nearly every error.
I'm so proud of you guys. I mean, this was sweet. Owned them in the second half. Hell yeah! 27 total points we had them to in the second half. 27 points off of turnovers. Hell yeah! And we took care of it. Only 7 turnovers for us. A complete team effort, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in double figures. I mean, it was just all really good stuff. Really good stuff.
So with their superstar stuck on the sidelines, who becomes the heartbeat of this team? That answer is finally starting to reveal itself. And while it isn't just one player, one name stands above the rest. Aliyah Boston. She's been front and center, and after that playoff clinching win in Washington, she proved it once again. Boston didn't just dominate on the court, she delivered the words that defined the Fever's identity. A single locker room mantra that had her teammates buzzing and fans applauding. She didn't just play big, she spoke big, and her message landed with the same force as her rebounds.
Aliyah, just through the adversity that you guys went through this season, especially maybe in August when people were going down left and right, did you guys feel like this was always possible to make the playoffs? Did you ever have moments of concern or doubt? And what allowed you guys to just keep, the eyes on the prize more or less? Yeah, I think, just being someone in this locker room, you never doubt yourself and what you're capable of, no matter what happens. I think the entire staff, up to the head, just made great decisions when people went down on who to bring in, the type of people to bring in. And that was really our mindset. We never doubted ourselves. We never doubted that we could be in the playoffs. Even if things looked like it got harder, for us, it was about sticking together. And I think through everything, you're able to see that, us play with joy, us play together, regardless of who's on that floor.
Aliyah Boston has always carried a reputation for polish and poise, but this season she's taken it to another level. Against the Mystics, she recorded yet another double-double, her 17th of the season, setting a new franchise record. To put it in perspective, she's already stacked 41 career double-doubles in just 2 seasons. That level of consistency is impressive by itself, but in a year where the roster felt like a revolving door of injuries, her production became the team's lifeline. She wrapped the game with 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists, while leading the team with a plus 29 plus minus. On paper, those are just stats, but on the floor, it meant one thing. The Fever played their best basketball every time she was out there.
To get into their offense, you see Jade Melvin getting that defensive assignment on Mitchell. She picked her up pretty much 3/4 court. Boston baseline jumper falls. That's the advantage with Mitchell guarding her. 11-0 run right now for Washington. Boston got that baseline, misses, gets her own, and finish it.
Without Caitlin Clark, it wasn't just about finding someone to score more points. That's the easy part. What the Fever needed was a backbone, a steady rhythm to keep the heartbeat of the team alive. Aliyah Boston became that anchor. She battled for rebounds, protected the paint against Washington's drives, and kept the offense flowing with sharp, unselfish passes that set up her teammates for easy buckets. She wasn't just the center by position, she became the center of Indiana's identity.
How would you describe the locker room after the game today, just being able to sell?
Well, we did make a TikTok, so I think everyone is just super excited. Like you said, it hasn't been a perfect road. And so for us, it's enjoying the little moments while at the same time understanding we have another game on Tuesday and then we have to prepare for the playoffs. But I think just being in the moment and being where our feet are and kind of just enjoying this one.
Imagine the scene in the locker room after that statement win. Sweat still dripping, adrenaline running high, and the weight of the season finally lifting off their shoulders. Players were laughing, hugging, and maybe even tearing up because they knew how hard the road had been. Caitlin Clark was sidelined, and teammates like Sophie, Aliyah, Kelsey, and Sydney were still battling through recovery. Yet in that moment, it was Aliyah Boston who pulled the group together. Her words hit as hard as her stat line, "Never doubt yourself or what you're capable of." And it wasn't just empty motivation. You could see it in the way they played. Lexi Hull diving on the hardwood for loose balls. Christy Wallace draining shots with confidence. Nalissa Smith coming in with pure energy off the bench. Boston's mantra wasn't just spoken, it became the unseen fuel behind every possession. Fans picked up on it too, spreading her words across social media. Suddenly, it wasn't just Boston's message, it was the Fever's rallying cry. Don't doubt us, no matter what the odds say.
Got a piece of glass for the finish there. Boston seal inside, comes right back for the finish.
Boston's leadership stretched far beyond her stat line or even one fiery speech. For a younger squad, it would have been easy to lose focus after celebrating something as big as their first playoff berth since 2016. But when asked about the locker room vibe, Boston cracked a smile and admitted, well, we did make a TikTok. Then, just as quickly, she flipped back into leader mode, saying the excitement was real, but the mission wasn't over. The playoffs were coming and preparation mattered more than ever. That balance, soaking in the joy while keeping her team locked in on the grind, isn't something you see often. It's what makes Boston the heartbeat of this team. Aliyah Boston has made it clear, she's not just a rising talent, she's the anchor, the voice of stability, the presence that steadies everything around her. If Caitlin Clark is the spark that grabs attention, Boston is the foundation that keeps the entire structure standing. And as the Fever head into the postseason, that toughness, that belief she radiates isn't just fueling this run, it's laying the groundwork for a culture that could define the franchise for years. But here's the twist no one's really talking about. What if Indiana's season of injuries was actually a blessing in disguise? From the outside, it looked like pure chaos. 5 players lost to season-ending setbacks, their star forced to the sidelines, and a lineup that seemed to change almost weekly. Yet against all odds, they're locked in as the 7th seed, celebrating back-to-back playoff berths for the first time since 2015 and 2016. And depending on how the final games shake out, 6th place is still within reach.
And we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Okay, we got another one on Tuesday, and in the playoffs, ain't nobody gonna want to see us. No one is gonna want to see us. That's right. Nobody. I'm not gonna sing it, but yes. So we continue to focus on competing to the standard, preparing to the standard. All right, and then we scare the hell out of this league. Hell yeah. Come on. Here we go. Hell yeah. 3, 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah.
The road ahead isn't soft, it's brutal. Indiana's most likely round 1 opponents, Atlanta, Las Vegas, or Phoenix. Every one of them is dangerous, and in a best-of-3 setup, 2 of those battles will be away from home. Normally, stepping into playoff basketball without your top scorer would feel like a death sentence. But this Fever team has already proven they can go toe-to-toe with all three. They've stolen wins from each of them during the regular season, and they did it with the same shorthanded lineup they're running now. For Indiana fans, the part that hits deepest isn't just who they'll face, it's what's coming back to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Fever are guaranteed at least one home playoff game, their first since 2016. Nearly a decade has passed since postseason basketball returned to Indianapolis, and it's happening because this roster learned how to win together. Just look at their statement against Washington. 5 different players hit double figures. That kind of balance makes them unpredictable, harder to scout, and far less dependent on a single superstar to carry the load.
Proud. I feel proud of these women and what they've been able to continue to do. I feel proud that we continue to raise the standard for ourselves and for one another. But I'm also, I look at this group and the roots that have been grown throughout the course of this season, and thinking about, not just where we are now and the opportunity that we have in the playoffs, but where we're going to be in the future.
Over the course of this season, no fewer than 18 players put on a Fever uniform. What looked like chaos turned into a blessing. The constant roster shuffle built a group that can throw anyone into heavy minutes without skipping a beat. Lexi Hull and Shea Petty stepped into roles nobody saw coming. Natasha Howard and Ariel Powers steadied the ship with veteran leadership. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston aren't just filling spots anymore. They've earned their stripes as playoff-tested stars. And here's the twist. Caitlin Clark's absence gave her teammates the space to grow into bigger roles. When she's back in 2026, she'll be returning to a locker room already carrying championship DNA. What once looked like disaster flipped the script. The injuries that were supposed to sink Indiana instead forged a battle-ready team that feels even more dangerous now than when fully healthy. This year pushed the Fever harder than anyone expected. Stripped down by injuries, what remained wasn't weakness. It was resilience, depth, and belief. For the first time since 2015, Indiana finishes with a winning record and a playoff berth. Proof that this identity, forged under fire, is no illusion. Fans shouldn't view this as survival. It's the start of something bigger. The playoffs are here. The momentum is real. The foundation is stronger than ever. And now the question every fan should be asking, if the Fever can accomplish this with half a roster, what happens when they're finally whole again? If you're fired up for the postseason, drop a Fever playoffs in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Click the video on your screen. We'll see you in the next one.